It can be very challenging, especially when you have your friends and your family, everyone in our lives conditioned to this sort of egoic way of being, lulled into this sense of complacency to where I'm so afraid and unwilling to make any changes. So if we start to make those changes, if we're the first ones in our sphere of influence that is even making any changes at all, then all of a sudden we're ostracized from the group, which brings about a whole nother layer of fear that we have to overcome, that now I have to even do this alone. I have to do this by myself. I don't have anyone else, which there's a purpose in that, because ultimately this path can only be walked alone. I can't have someone else do this for me. I'm not a victim that needs some savior to come along and do this for me. I can't have that. So I have to take that courage and step out on my own to do that. That's why it's compared to the straight and narrow path, because the wide and spacious path is the one that everyone else goes. In order to truly step into this higher expression and to move consciousness along in a way that is challenging and is growing, I have to be willing to step away from it all, from the status quo, from the masses, and do it on my own. And that act in and of itself proves my strength. It proves my courage. And the only reason that you are overcoming it so powerfully is because that resistance was there. An easy comparison is strength training, right? Resistance training. So when we go through strength training and we want to build muscle, build strength, you have to have some resistance in order to build that strength. So that act of the challenge of your family and your friends, and yes, we've all been through those kind of things, it adds to the weight, the resistance, so that I can grow stronger, so that I can truly prove myself and prove my worth to be able to step away from that despite the challenges. Of course, as we shift as a society, this will become easier for people to step into that. But for those of us who are courageous enough and bold enough to be pioneers, to say, I'm ready to do this now, I don't want to wait for the masses to catch up, it means it's a gauntlet. It's a true test of faith. It's a true test of strength. And all of our family and friends in our life of old, they're acting as gatekeepers. They're acting as beings that are like, okay, are you ready to pass by this gate? If you've played video games or are aware of video game structure, it's very akin to that. In order to move into the next level, we have to overcome this challenge. We have to overcome this boss or this puzzle or whatever the case may be. And each level that comes along, they get more and more challenging to overcome, because each level leads us into a higher expansive reality. So in order to earn my ability to beat this level, I have to be putting my skills to the test, and I have to really get into it. It's not for the faint of heart. In video games, you might die a few times in order before you get it right. So it might take us a few iterations before we get it right, but we learn. And then the next time I play that level, it's easy because I've already beaten it. So I know how to move through that one, and I can move into a higher one where the challenges are greater and the rewards are greater. And each step of the way in this sort of spiritual ascension is like that. It's like this continuous game that we're playing where we're just leveling up each step. We get to recognize that each being that comes into our life is perfectly designed by the divine to give us that test, to give us that challenge to overcome, so that we can step into a higher timeline, a higher reality. Everything is happening for us. There's no such thing as a victim. We're all here being augmented by this experience, and God is giving us exactly what we need in all moments so that we can continually expand and step into our highest expression as aspects of the Creator, aspects of God.